How's it going, guys? Alex here, and welcome to the most controversial video that I will ever make, and I will probably get roasted, and so will these guys. I'm joined by Zenrot and DFree. Say hi.
Hello.
Typical Donnie intro.
I felt good.
Did it?
What's going on, guys? And yeah, thanks for having me on, Alex. I'm just gonna say that I'm not gonna get roasted because I'm the neutral party here.
Neutral? What does that mean?
It means I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm on the commenter side for the stuff you're about to say in this video.
I don't think that's how it works.
That's how it's gonna work for this video.
Okay, fair enough. So, Zen, what are your thoughts on today's video?
My thoughts are that I've had this discussion 467,000 times with different people, and none of them ever actually listen to what I say, so I don't expect this to be a whole lot different.
No,
Oh,
it won't.
God. Right, we're going to try to explain it like as best as possible, because I've made a video in the past explaining, attempting to explain why LR Gohan is better than the Super Saiyan 4s, and I'm pretty sure that was before the release of Cooler, so LR Gohan is excluded, so we are going to be going over the 4 current God leads. I'm not going to call them the Neo leads, which is what Donnie likes to call them.
No, I don't.
Now everyone else, well, let's be honest here.
I've called them that a handful of times, like literally like 3 or 4 times, and 3 times out of the 4 times I said air quotes up, Neo gods, whatever you want to call them. Don't put that on me.
Well, to be fair, people
That came from the Reddit, okay? And I said in the first video I said that I got it from the Reddit. So stop.
Okay, but you no, you know what? That's fine. Fine. Okay, so with the release of Super Saiyan 3 Goku, it's been debated about which one's the best, which one's the worst. Some people think that Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta is the best. Some people think that he is the worst. And it's all over the place, to be honest, and hopefully in this video we can bring some light on our opinions and what we feel is the best based on, numerous different facts from, the subreddit specifically, and I will be linking some stuff in the comment section and description. So we believe strongly that in the number 4 spot is Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and the reason why is because it's just nothing special about agility at the moment compared to the other types. You have Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who hits ridiculously hard. Same for Cooler, same with Super Saiyan 3 Goku. In comparison to what they can do, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta is just mediocre. And people bring up how well he can tank, but the thing is, tanking doesn't exactly bring that much to the table anymore because of how much health you have. And even if you didn't have a tank on your team, you still have support items, which they are there for a reason. So I would like to hear, let's start with Donnie. What do you think?
Why you got to start with me for? Like I said before we started recording, when you say best, right, it's important to note that, what context you're talking about, because I had this argument with somebody the other day and they said, well, AGL's the best for things like the tournament and things like that. Well, I mean, sure, right?
And people
they have
Boss Rush as well.
Yeah, and Boss Rush and things like that don't really apply to the main game. The game structure is Dokkan events. That's it. Everything else is supplementary to that. The game is focused on Dokkan events. So when you take that into consideration, there's not an event in the game that cannot be beat by any of these teams at the moment. Okay, and then when you talk about best team in the game, what does that come down to for you specifically? Does that mean you don't use items? Does that mean you run through the event fastest? Does that mean that you don't use items and you get through it fast? What is the combination in that? So for me personally, right, I feel like Vegeta is not even the best tank on his team. Super Vegito is still there. And that's not really a bad thing, having Super Vegito on your team. But the problem with AGL is they're pissed slow. They're super slow because they take a defensive approach, which is not a bad thing. But defense doesn't really matter at this stage of the game. I can't speak about later on. It doesn't matter when you can burn through an event in just a couple minutes with any of the other teams. Not to say AGL can't do that, but they're slower. And it comes down to what you prefer as a player.
And it's
right?
like when you have 300k health or something along those lines, depending on how many ability system buffs your guys have, do you really need a tank? 300k health is a lot.
That's why I said it comes down to, because if you look at Vegeta, sure, his ability to get a really high defensive stat, 60, 50, 80,000 defense, is all glitz and glamour, but is it necessary? No, it's not.
Exactly,
he tanks well enough to tank normal hits, and then the ability to counter super attacks isn't even relevant for him or Goku, because you have to chance on where the super attack is, and then you have to chance on the fact that you only have a 25% chance, whatever it is, to actually counter that super attack, so it's irrelevant. That's not even a thing. You know, when it happens, it's great, but it most of the time doesn't happen because just the way that it was made to be. So he can take a little bit less damage from a super attack than a normal unit does, maybe 18, 20k less damage. That could be clutch, but again, at this stage of the game, it just doesn't matter. So I don't know.
Exactly. And Zen, you brought up earlier how like a lot of the agility team is just RNG based. Like, do you want to talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, a lot of people will bring up that Super Vegito has the potential to be one of, if not the most damaging unit in the game, which is theoretically true. The issue with that is that for AGL teams to catch up and sort of keep pace with teams like Physical, Strength, and even Tech, which isn't super stable but it's still there, is they're super dependent on Super Vegito getting all of these crits all the time. All of these counters, all of these critical counters, all these extra attacks. It's stuff that's not reliable damage, so while it can do it, I mean, it's great that Super Vegito can counter 7 times now because bosses attack so much. That's awesome. Good for him. But that doesn't mean that Goku's not killing them in 2 attacks.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, like, much faster.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, Super Vegito is a lot better now because bosses attack a lot more, and theoretically that's true, but it doesn't matter because Goku and Cooler wipe the final phase of a boss in 1 crit. Like, I don't really see why people are so set on AGL having some sort of damage advantage. They don't, and they won't for a very long time. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The fact that Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black is on agility team still is not a good thing.
Yeah. They need another big damage dealer, like 100%.
And I completely agree with you. The fact that they're still running a villain on a hero-centric team, even though we don't want to take anything away from him, it's just he's only getting 50% buffs when they could have another unit getting 120%. And that's a significant difference, and he's still optimal for that team, and he's the only unit that slides into any of these teams optimally at this point. And you know, Vegito is an interesting case because, like I said, I feel like he's the best tank on the team simply due to the damage mitigation that he has on his passive. And Vegeta hits really hard, too. I don't want to take anything away from Vegeta. It's just, you know, there are issues with that team. He doesn't have his own Super Saiyan 3 Goku that STR has. He doesn't have his full power Frieza that Physical has. He doesn't have his Go tanks that Goku has. So it's like that team as a whole is still missing things. And, you know, I will say that when you factor in the entirety of the game, you know, offense and defense, sure, I can see maybe intelligence or AGL being the most well-rounded teams, but it doesn't really matter. That's the problem. So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely in the grand scheme of things. So this is where like people are going to start debating over the number 3 spot. So we do believe that Tech Super Saiyan 3 Goku is better, but the thing about the Goku is he was the first unit out of these godlies to not have tanking capabilities, and that's something that Tech is lacking in as well. But I feel like when they made him, they wanted to be more like Super Saiyan 4 Goku in the sense that he was made to basically one-shot everything. But the thing about the mechanic that they gave him with, you know, the whole rainbow thing is that whilst he does get like a 100% attack boost when he collects 5 orbs, the chances of getting that consistently is so rare that, you know, it still does put him above Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in terms of damage, but it doesn't put him above the others. And of course, he does have one of the best partnerships in the game with Super Saiyan 3 Go tanks. But like the team's kind of all over the place. I'm pretty sure you brought this up a few moments ago, Zen. Like it still works, but like the rotations are like, you know, because one turn you have like Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Go tanks, and then the next you probably have like LR Goku and Bardock, and then you'd have to get rid of a Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So, do you want to talk about the Tech team real quick, Zen?
Well, the Tech team's still kind of all over the place. Right now, what I use is Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Go tanks, Bardock, the Tech Bardock, the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, the father-son one. And I actually don't even remember my other 2 guys because they're irrelevant filler for the most part.
Hey, don't talk about Trunks like
Tech
that.
Works. I don't even run Trunks. Fuck Trunks.
Oh, I run Trunks. Well, that mine has a lot of potential system increases. He has like plus 2,000 attack, so.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he's really good.
That's definitely part of it. Oh, I run the World Tournament Goku, but that's a discussion for another video.
God.
The one, oh yeah. See, I actually
big
was
thing
doing that
with
too,
tech-
Zen. I was doing that too. After our STR thing.
The
Oh yeah, Vegeta's in it. I think I forgot
the
about
Awakened
him.
one.
Yeah, the rebirth one from the very first tournament or whatever.
Yeah, he's really good. But like the big thing with tech is it kind of plays almost exactly like STR plays, where it doesn't really matter what the majority of your setup is because the main damage is coming out of Goku and Gotenks.
Yeah.
In the same way that STR has a set firm rotation and that's 90% of your output, Tech runs the same thing. Honestly, Tech kind of is exactly like STR. The more and more that I kind of delve into it and start building teams, they don't even really feel like they have that much of an identity apart from one another, other than the fact that Goku or Super Saiyan 4 Goku is just more consistent than Super Saiyan 3
I
Goku.
kind of wish that they didn't give him that rainbow mechanic because it's just like so all over the place. Like the majority of the time, you get like 3, maybe 4 orbs at most. But like to get 5 orbs consistently is so hard, and I've seen a lot of people say that they would like put Super Saiyan Gotenks into their team specifically for those orbs. But even then, it's still kind of hard to use them. I don't know if any of you guys have tried using that Gotenks.
I have. It's just
I
kind of
stay away
not
from
worth
him.
it because most of the time you only get like 3 or 4 anyway. So to make Goku hit 20 to 40% harder, and then that's going to be an off rotation Goku unless you want to screw Gotenks' key over, I guess. But like it's kind of weird. Gotenks just doesn't fit the team very well. I've tried it. I
Super
just
Saiyan
don't like it.
Gotenks.
Yeah, because it's not that big of a deal. I mean, Goku's going to get at 1 or 2 orbs every round. That's a stupid mechanic in and of itself because it's a cap. He gets only up to like 5 if they're in a vertical rotation, and then it'll burst the orbs on the side. But that's not really relevant to what he does. So that's why I don't understand what they did with him. They just tried to make him a damage dealer, and they put a restriction on him without meaning to put a restriction on him. He's like a very cautiously made card. They didn't give him the defense because they didn't want to make him too OP, but they gave him a stun, but they gave him a low stun chance.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, I mean, when the stun does go off, it's nice because it's like a free turn of damage, but because of how low the chance it is, it's just like, I mean, it's okay when it happens.
but there is still the thing is the potential for 200% up or whatever it is, 220 up. So that's like that's really massive for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It has the potential to out damage the other units, which is something that you obviously want. So, in second place, we have STR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. He was just a beast upon his release. He would just basically one-shot everything, and of course, he has one of the best partnerships. Yeah, and he has one of the best partnerships in the game with Super Saiyan 3 GT, which is something that, again, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta does not have. And, of course, activates all of his links. If you get a crit, you're basically one-shotting every single event in the game, pretty much. Apart from maybe like some of the newer ones that have like 8 bars of health. But for the most
You're
part,
still killing them in one turn, though.
yeah, with the other units.
So, with everything that we've talked about here, because I know it's going to happen in the comments, this is under the assumption that you have
A super attack 10
optimal
Goku.
teams and optimal units.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, everybody's situation will vary. Your
Well,
your box may have Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. He may be your best unit. That doesn't mean that he's not good. That doesn't mean that he's not relevant.
Yeah.
That just means he's more important to you specifically. Understand that.
And like, yeah, also
Because I know there are going to be people in the comments that rip us apart because of that specifically, because
Yeah.
we're talking about optimal situations and different things like that.
Also want to put this point across, just because we say that a specific unit isn't better than the other doesn't mean that they're shit, okay? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
They're going to think, oh, we were talking about Vegeta like he's just garbage. But to be fair, Vegeta's the only real unit that we've criticized in this video so far.
It's a fair criticism. Like,
It is, but we're not being fair across the...
I suppose.
I think we criticized Goku Super Saiyan 3 pretty well.
Yeah, like he has his weaknesses. His team isn't the greatest. Like he has
His
bad
team is
things
shit.
about him.
We'll just say that. He has a couple
Yeah.
good guys.
It's just basically a Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Gotenks show, and LR
Yeah.
Goku if you want to run him.
And Tech Vegito's there. That's
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so Goku, one of the hardest hitters in the game, still one of the best partnerships in the game. His team's pretty solid as well, but like Zen said, you are going to be relying on those two the majority of the time to deal with the damage. I don't think there's anything much to say about him.
Well,
Any of you?
I mean,
team
people have
wise,
seen
right?
what
Like I
STR
think a
can do.
compelling thing. Huh?
I said, well, I think at this point people have seen what STR can do.
Yeah, basically. I was gonna say like team wise because I can already see. I mean, you guys already know who's number one at this point, excluding Gohan because Gohan's unanimous number one. I mean, there's just no way anybody's better than him. But excluding Gohan, you know who's number one. I can already see where the debate would circle in between number one and number two, and number three and number four. But specifically between Goku and Vegeta, because they came out at the same time, they have the highest key multipliers and things like that. They were meant to come out at the same time and be really good and relevant together. When people talk about Goku versus Vegeta, the whole debate is Vegeta can do both things, while Goku only does one, or he takes a couple turns to get going defensively. But it doesn't really matter because Goku burns the event faster than Vegeta would burn the event with the defense active. And then on top of that, sometimes people kind of act like STR cannot tank. STR has really good tanks. I don't understand. Like they can tank very well if they needed to.
If their defense is high enough, they can.
Well, that too, but then they also, if you really wanted to go out of your way, right? You could run the GT Vegeta, you could run Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta from the Dokkan Festival, you can run Majub, you could even go suboptimal and run Omega Shenron and make everybody a little bit better tanky. So it's like STR can do all the same things. So I just need to make sure people understand that too. Because
I feel like Tech is the only team that can't do that.
Well, I mean, Tech can too if you want to extend, right? And throw in Frieza and maybe Mass Sand.
Frieza, the best. He has no weakness.
At this point, Tech pretty much just if you really want to get defensive, you sub in the Pycon and Whis combo.
Pycon and Whis, yeah,
the squad lowering attack.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Mass Sand is the only guy that's relevant because he does have prepare for battle, and he still gets a flat increase on his defense to where he'll be a nice tank regardless. Huh?
Yeah, like if the flat out boost is high enough to the point where like it makes a difference, then it's obviously good.
It's 20,000. That's basically the cap. Around 20,000 defense is when you're going to tank every single normal hit in the game.
Yeah, that's on top of his base attack and defense, and that's not even counting the boost from the leader skill. So he's a decent.
That's
tank.
why I said earlier the Vegeta thing, the glitz and glamour, and it applies to Cooler too because he does it too. But that super high defensive stat doesn't really matter. I mean, it just looks nice.
Exactly. Like as long as you can tank the hits, does it really matter?
Yeah. Like, but they know what Goku can do. Goku's been one-shotting everything since he came out.
Exactly. And obviously, in the number one spot, we have Cooler. And I feel like, I don't get some people. Like, they say that he's worse than Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But he's better than... is it Super Saiyan 4 Goku or Vegeta? One of the two.
They say he's better than Goku, but worse than Vegeta.
Yeah, worse than Vegeta. That's the one.
The classic.
And that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, Goku and Cooler hit harder than Vegeta. Cooler can tank better. Goku can basically one-shot everything along with Cooler. Cooler actually hits harder. Like, he just has to get his super attack, like, 10% of the time, was it? And he hits harder than Goku?
Yeah, well, it's hard to do it, single it out, because you have to include the ally units, it's a 3-person turn rotation, etc., etc. It's a whole thing.
Okay. But even then... Cooler has one of the best partnerships in the game as well, second best if you don't count, Elo Gohan and Super Saiyan Rage Trunks are the best partnership in the game, and Full Power Frieza and Cooler have the best partnership, second best, because of how they activate every single link, and when Big Bad Bosses is active, they get a 25% increase to attack and defense, which like almost allows Cooler to tank better than Vegeta or something along those lines, or is it just a bit lower?
Cooler tanks better than Vegeta outright just because of how math works. As long as Big Bad Bosses is active, it's impossible for Vegeta to tank even remotely close. I mean, the gap is actually really big in the final defensive number because of that.
And like Donnie said, like when your defensive stat gets to a certain point, they are basically going to be tanking like double digits, so it doesn't matter how high the defensive stat is. And
the defensive stat being higher matters more, like I said, off camera, off air, on a super attack. Because they will noticeably take less damage on a super attack. That cannot be rebuked. You can see it. But, once again, does that really matter? Right? That people are, like, opposed to using items for some reason. And that's why I said in the beginning of the video, when you talk about best, you have to make sure you're talking about it a certain way. So, obviously, for the purpose of this video, we're talking about damage output. Right? That's 90% of the game, damage output, because you can't win just by tanking. You have to do damage.
I feel like certain teams in the past kind of influence the way that people think about the game. Because like,
Buhan? Buhan changed everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
You take a look at villains. Oh wow, look at how well that team can tank. No damage, just go through events.
Healing with Buhan, no damage, no items, everything. It's like,
and like before, people like all about the damage. Now that it's caught up, oh wow, this unit can't tank. He's shit. I just try to understand different people's perspectives, and sometimes they get their point, but people literally say that if they can't tank, they're shit. I don't understand that. If you can just one-shot an event easily, what is the point in tanking? Like, if you have items to spare, what is the point in tanking? It's not to say that it's not a valuable asset. It can be, but when literally the main content in the game is Dokkan events, I would rather be able to blitz an event than spend like 20 minutes going through a single event.
But to play devil's advocate, though, right? Everybody loves the offensive-defensive combo. Talking about Vegeta here. But we literally just said Cooler does those same things, except he does them better. That's the problem here. So, Zen, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit as far as versatility of the team, maybe defensively, offensively, and stuff like that, so they understand? Because I don't want them to leave. Like, why is Cooler better when his passive is lower and key multiplier is lower? What exactly goes on there?
Sure.
Sorry, Alex, I just stole your show, but I wanted to throw that in there.
Post mutiny. Sure. So the difference between physical and AGL teams is that physical teams they're a lot more support oriented, and a lot of people, I don't know why people hate support units. I just want to touch on that real quick.
Oh yeah, people shit on support units.
People shit on support units all the time. They're some of the best cards in the entire game. Again, that's a topic for another video, but it's important to bring that up when you're discussing the difference between a physical and an AGL team. AGL defense, they have a lot of it. They've got Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, they've got both Super Saiyan 4 Vegetas, they got Super Vegito, and that's all fine and good. But physical teams, the way that they're built makes everyone a tank by default. I can't think of an easier way to explain it than that. The new Super Buu and Kid Buu, the defensive buffs that those units give just by existing as floaters in the rotation is ridiculous. Combined with Goku Black's attack reduction, full power Frieza, when you run that team, takes double-digit damage. He has no defensive capability whatsoever. He takes double-digit damage, and he still does 1.5 million when he attacks.
Yeah, and that's the second hardest hitter on the team.
Yeah, it's the entire team. And then when you want to talk about damage output, comparing the best rotation in AGL, which is probably what? Super Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and Super Saiyan Blue Goku?
Yeah.
Okay, now put in Cooler, Frieza, and Kid Buu. It's not even remotely close in the final output.
Yeah, because that 50% increase from Buu as well.
Not to mention, you can even proc big bad bosses while Kid Buu is on screen as long as it happens during the fight.
Yep.
Yeah, if you get attacked first, and then, oh wow.
That's 75% up. That's right. Oh, that's filthy.
Yes.
Not to factor in the other links that they have, Fierce Battle, all the other Frieza links that Cooler and Frieza have,
Cooler and
all that
Frieza
stuff.
get 55% just by standing next to each other.
And Cooler can super attack twice, potentially 3 times.
Yeah, and physical and AGL's free buffs are actually interesting to discuss too, because both of them get double attack as their free buffs. But seeing the difference in what double attack does for these units is where it really starts kind of becoming clear that it's not really that close. Like, Donnie, what do you think your Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta does on average when he supers?
On average, no crit or anything?
No crit.
Type advantage? No, just neutral?
Yep.
Well, he's only plus 2,000. I never pulled a dupe, so he hits for about 600 or 700, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So a random number. I haven't used him in a little bit, but around there.
Right. So multiply that by 2, you're looking at 1.2 to we'll say 1.3 million because it's kind of right in the middle.
Yeah.
So now with Cooler's mechanic, does anyone else here even have Cooler? You have Cooler, right?
Yep.
All right, what's your Cooler do?
My Cooler, as a super attack, he does about 700, 750.
So you say about 700 to 800?
He's at like
so
plus
roughly the same,
1,100 right? Attack, yeah.
Okay.
Around the same area.
Around the same, maybe about 100,000 better?
Yeah.
Multiply that by 2, you're going from 1.2 up to nearly 1.5, and then let's say the second attack doesn't super. Let's say he just does a regular attack and he hits for probably... Shit, I don't know. I think mine does like 80k maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So you're looking at both doing 2 supers, Cooler not getting his extra super. He's got a damage advantage of almost 400,000.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's without optimal RNG on his side.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's not good for AGL. Like, and then people want to talk about Super Vegito. Oh, Super Vegito can attack twice, and he delivers his buff twice. Super Vegito's buff sucks.
Yeah, it's not even that noticeable.
It's
like, I read the
terrible.
post and it was like, what, 7% or something?
Yeah, it comes out to about it's 0.3 to the super attack multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad.
So, yeah.
Like,
and that's like one of the... Yeah, go on.
yeah, well, I mean, like, extra damage is extra damage, right? Like, you want to have it. But it doesn't mean anything. You can have Super Vegito attack twice, and then Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta attack twice, and there's your damage output. Then you can have a combination that tanks just as well with Cooler and Frieza, and combine and have them both attack twice. That's going to be millions of difference.
Yeah, and the same kind of applies for tech too, because you have Goku and Gotenks both popping in doing over 1 million damage on rotation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
easily.
Tech's
So-
free buff. Tech has the best dupe grid. I don't know if people
Free
know
buff.
about that. Have we? Yeah, their
Yeah.
free buff is crit.
Critical.
Like, critical's so broken, by the way, for people who don't know. It's so broken. And Tech gets it for free. You don't even need to hit it with both of them. I mean, let's say you crit with Super Saiyan, like when I'm fighting Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku and I use my own, I crit for about 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And
like,
then I'll have Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks do a regular attack for probably about 900k. So just between those two, that's 2.4 million.
Yeah, my Super Attack 1 Goku did like a 1 million crit, and that just shows you how broken crits actually are. And I
Yeah,
was looking for
Goku's
Super Saiyan
pretty
Gotenks.
OP. My Gotenks and my Goku, when they crit, because my Gotenks is plus 2,500, when they crit together, they're both critting for over 2 million.
And it's funny
It's
because, like,
ridiculous.
And like Vegeta crits for like what, 600k, maybe a bit more, 700. Vegeta 1.4 maybe. Like in comparison to the other teams, it's
1.4 is a little high. I mean, mine's only 75%, but I don't usually get 1.4 when I crit.
really
Yeah, when I crit with him, it's a little bit closer to like 1.2, 1.3.
1.2. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like it depends on the boss as well, but
That's true. They all have
Like,
different
yeah.
shielding and stuff, but
And they continually shaft AGL because they could give them more support,
yeah,
but they don't.
Like from the moment that they Dokkan the Super Saiyan 3 for STR and not agility, like he was shafted. Let's be honest here, because they have there is a Super Saiyan 3 agility Goku, but for some reason they didn't decide to awaken him.
But the problem with that is, even if they did, a
You still
really
wouldn't be
big
that
part
good.
of the STR unit is his passive. That 33% up is
33%.
massive. So the AGL one, while he may be able to fulfill all of his attack links, Vegeta still wouldn't come close to the Goku output.
I think
It's weird.
I think people are just gonna argue that survivability is like more important than being able to take the event out faster, because if you can't survive, then you can't take out the event or something along those
If you
lines.
can't do damage, surviving is useless.
Exactly. So
I mean, the thing about that is damage is survivability.
true.
If the enemy can't hit you, you don't need to be able to block the hit. Like, I don't want to plug myself here, but like the race that I did with DFree, look at how many of those boss attacks never even get a chance to attack one of us.
This is true.
Because the phase dies in a single hit.
Exactly. And if you were to try that agility, you would have to like rely on a lot of RNG.
And you're still taking, I mean, I'm not about to say STR takes less damage than AGL, because that's not true. But on a phase where Goku one-shots the phase versus a phase where Super Vegito counters 7 times, it did take less damage in that one instance.
But in the overall scheme of things, STR would be better at taking out the event.
Right, like, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, if the enemy doesn't attack first, has a very good chance of killing every phase but the final phase in one attack of almost every fight in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, everybody else on the rotation will.
Yeah, he's the first one in the rotation, so you get hit once. Most bosses normal attack for what, like 30k now?
Yeah.
Except for Bardock. That guy's
45k.
Yeah, but even then, like, fuck it. Or let's say you get supered by Bardock. Let's say that you're in the final fight with Bardock and you don't kill him and he supers your ass for 150k or whatever it is. It's not even half your health.
Well, Zen, I actually sent Alex a picture on Twitter. The new STR that we're running took Bardock from full health all the way down to 1.5 after one turn.
You talking about our new Bardock Trunks setup?
No, no.
Yeah,
The Goku and the Bardock, yeah.
No, it's
SS2
Super
STR.
Saiyan 2 Trunks and Bardock.
Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
Literally.
This is a topic that I would love to do in a future video. I can't get into depth with it right now because it'll take us forever, and we're already been recording for half an hour. But support units are really, really, really broken right now, and I think it's actually optimal. I've been discussing with a couple people on Discord. It's actually optimal for every team to bring at least 2.
Yeah, like the boost that they give is like substantial. Like, what is it? They give a 250,000 attack boost to like guys like Goku or something along those lines.
It's something around there.
Like,
But like the ability to have your if STR gets another good attacker that isn't like Trunks, like whatever, the GT Trunks, I'm gonna take Super Saiyan 3 Ape Goku off rotation and let him wander. Roaming support is ridiculously overpowered.
okay, any last words?
No. Like I said
Okay.
earlier, it's whatever works best for you. If you only have one, you haven't used all. For one, if you haven't used all the units, you really kind of can't criticize. I'm sorry, for the most part, unless you've seen extensively what they do. Because I only say that because I've seen people just say, Vegeta's the best because that's what I have. And that's understandable, but like, come on, you got to cut some slack to somebody else. I understand it, but come on now, be reasonable. But
Right.
no, it was fun. Thank you for having me on. It's totally a pleasure. I actually look forward to seeing the comments on this half-hour video.
I know, right?
I'm loving it. It's gonna be.
thank
I can tell you now, it's gonna be Vegeta's better than this. They're gonna do their own rankings in the comments. It's gonna be Vegeta and Goku in the front, then Cooler than Goku, guaranteed.
People don't like Cooler because it's cooler.
Yeah, they just hate him because he's cooler. Sorry.
Yeah, when Cooler came out, a lot of people shit on the notion of him being remotely good because there hasn't been a good Cooler yet.
I mean,
God
The
forbid
one
they
thing I
make
do
a
want to
good
say
Lord
before we
Slug.
stop. Lord
Android
Slug.
13.
It needs to come out already.
okay, yeah, what was that?
The one thing I want to say before we stop is that it's really, really hard to do units in a flat numerical ranking. Like, I know we just did it, so it's kind of stupid that I'm saying this. But I think that it's a lot easier for people who don't go as hard. I can't think of a way that doesn't make me sound like a pompous ass. But for people who don't, like, go as into the game as we do or spend money and all that kind of stuff, who only have, like, 1 or 2 of the units, it's a lot easier to look at it as a sort of a tiering system, where I think, like, you have a tier 1 and you have a tier 2 of units that are all, like, they can shit on everything. They're the best of the best, but they're slightly better at it than one another.
Yeah.
Like, can I definitively say in every situation Vegeta is going to be worse than Angel Goku? No, absolutely not, because that's not true. But on average, I would think Angel Goku is slightly higher in the same tier as Vegeta, whereas Cooler and Goku are in a tier of their own in comparison to the other two.
Oh, I agree. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Buhan and Vegito before. Like, they were all good, but those two are, like, in the class of their own.
Right. Very similar to that, yeah.
So, that is the video, guys. If you stuck till the end, I hope you enjoyed this 34-minute video. And, yeah, thanks for joining me, guys.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, I will see you all in the next one, if my channel doesn't die.
And before it deletes the channel tomorrow. Look at his social blade and 30,000 unsubscriptions. Wait, what?
God.
30,000? I'm not even there yet. Negative 6,000 subs.
Alright, see ya.
Bye.
All right, guys.